Welcome into the DML Network and another episode of Total Access. It's the playoff edition. It's your boy Expert, and you know I got my co-host with me. What's up, HP?
Let's go back. It's the playoffs in Dynasty. We are ready to roll for Total Access.
No doubt. And HP, this is what it all comes down to. Guys have hustled for 17 weeks. They've taken their losses. They've built their teams. They got their players in place. It's now time to shine or go home. What does making the playoffs in the Dynasty mean to you when you've had such a long season? How important is it for you to play your best football right now?
Man, the season is a grind, you know what I mean? And you got to pace yourself for the playoffs. You got to be ready to roll when it counts.
Yeah, I mean, you can have one bad game here or there in the regular season and bounce back from that. But you don't play well in these playoffs in the Dynasty. Any one of these guys can beat you. We've seen it happen before. We've seen the lower seed take the top seeds. I know when I got my banner, I think I was the 5th or 6th seed in the AFC and beat just a gauntlet. So if you don't have your A game ready, you can get beat at any time. All of these teams we're going to talk about today have a chance to win and go make a Super Bowl and maybe hang a banner in the Dynasty. But let's start with a big matchup in the AFC, HP. It's Chris Murray, Mr. Terror Dome himself, and those Pittsburgh Steelers going to New York to play the division-winning Jets. Yes, it's the user that will not be named, Mr. 99 himself, and those Jets. And this is a big matchup to start the playoffs. We know you got McKinnon on one side with the Steelers, and he loves to go to that guy. But the Jets play solid defense. I like this matchup for the Jets, but I can see it going either way. But I'm going to pick the Jets in a close one, or it may be a blowout because if McKinnon doesn't get going early, it's hard for Chris Murray to get that offense running. I'm picking the Jets, HP.
Man, the Jets end up edging out. Tight work for that for the division. And the reason why he won was based off of the common games. So basically what happened is that he won. Tight work lost to the commish, Dion, the Vikings. That basically sealed the deal for him to lose the division because the common games. It was 6-2 versus 7-1. So the Jets end up winning. Now, let's go to this matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Jets. They played earlier this year in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Your boy, Rashawn McKinnon, went off for 212 yards, 7 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. The MVP, Brantley, had 4 quarterback sacks. Hackenberg threw for over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, but he had 5 interceptions, and that was the key to the Jets winning that game. It was a close game. I think it was a tie game going into the final minutes of the game, and the Jets were able to pull away with a victory, 45-31. Now, can Chris Murray and the Pittsburgh Steelers make the adjustments in order to win this game versus the Jets? Man, this is going to be a good game. And from when I'm watching the Jets, the style of ball he plays, he capitalizes on your mistakes. You cannot make mistakes against the Jets. I think the Steelers make a little bit too many mistakes, and the Jets end up winning this game. But it's going to be a close game because you got that difference making in Rashawn McKinnon. He just upgraded him to a 97 overall with 2 confidence, so he's a 99 right now.
That's dangerous. Going to be a good matchup. All right, let's switch over to the NFC. First matchup in the NFC is a rematch from Week 17, H-Speed. I believe you called this on the last Total Access. It's KP versus KP. The Eagles going to Chicago to play the Bears. Now, this is the game right here where you kind of got to throw the records. You kind of got to throw the last games out the window because these guys are going to go back and forth. The Eagles got the win in Week 17, even though it was really an evenly matched game. If you look, the Bears really dominated on the offensive side of the ball in yards. But the Eagles always, when he gets in that red zone, he's just lethal. He always puts points on the board, and that's key in the Dynasty. This is my coin flip game. because I like both of these users. Both of them are very, very talented on both sides of the ball. The Bears love that run game, but he will torch you in the pass game when you're not looking. And the Eagles, KP is just a balanced guy. Plus, I know it was a different version, but when you've won banners in the Dynasty, you kind of understand what it takes. And we know KP and the Eagles always pull some stuff out when it's playoff time. This is actually my sleeper team to make the Super Bowl in the NFC. No disrespect to my boy HB and his Redskins, but I like the Eagles. He is the sleeper team. I'm picking the Eagles to win back-to-back games versus the Bears and move on to the next round. Eagles with the win.
Man, it's always tough playing the team twice in a row. You like to play them and have a couple games in between before you play them again because, just out of familiarity. And this was a close game. And I think from what I watched most of the game, I didn't see all of it. I seen two rainbows that the Bears threw up and was caught. One by Pearson, the fast receiver he got, and the other one was by Daniels, 60-yard bombs. Those were big plays and difference makers. But I felt like the Eagles controlled that game, and I felt like the Bears needed to have that game in order to get a first-round bye. If you the Bears, I felt like the effort needed to be a little bit more higher. It needed to be more urgency. I think the urgency wasn't there, and I think since the urgency wasn't there in that game, I think the Eagles going to pull this game out and move on in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. Next up, last game in the AFC. It's tight work, and those Dolphins going to darkness and Oakland to play that division winner, the Raiders. But this is really, to me, this was the easiest game to pick in the playoffs, just because the way that the Dolphins plays football, he just dominates people when it's playoff time. He's coming off a huge win versus HBO in those Detroit Lions in Week 17. And the Raiders got him a win in Week 17 and really eliminated the Cardinals out the playoffs because of that W. But the Dolphins just have a different gear when it comes to playoff time, and he's got a monster in that backfield he loves to feed, and he plays solid defense, doesn't turn the ball over very much. So I'm picking the Dolphins to go into Oakland and get him a W.
On paper, it looks like easy win for the Dolphins, but not so fast. I was looking at the Raiders stats. They make their money on defense, man. They like to turn the football over. They have the third-ranked defense as far as yards, or they got a top defense in terms of yards. I think it's like number one for rushing defense. So that's going to be interesting to see, because tight work likes to run the ball, and the Raiders like to stop the run. Whoever can win that matchup, I think can win this game. And the turnover battle also is going to be very interesting in this game. Having said that, I think the experience that the Dolphins have in the playoffs, I think that might overwhelm the Raiders in the end. But I think it'll be a closer football game than what we see on paper. So, man, is this my upset special? No haps.
We only got
no
one more game.
No haps. I think I'm gonna go with well, I actually picked KP as an upset, but to me that's not an upset. But so I'm picking tight work to win this game. He's third in rushing yards per game, and I think whoever wins that battle in a turnover battle wins this game, and I think the Dolphins will do that.
All right, last game for Wild Card Weekend. It's HB, my co-host, and his Washington Redskins going to San Francisco to play Andy Force and the 49ers. And Andy Force really backs into the playoffs. If you ask Andy Force, he is not happy with the way this season went. Although this is, I believe, his third in a row division title. So nothing to shake your nose at. Andy Force got some talent. We know he knows how to ball, but he's going to get two juggernauts at wide receiver about to walk into the door. And you got Turnbull in that backfield that loves to throw the ball down the field to these two young guys. But let's not forget, this is still H-Speed in the Redskins. He will turn around and run the rock on a consistent basis. You better be prepared on your defensive side of the ball for everything, because you're about to get the kitchen sink thrown at you. This is an easy pick for me, just like the Dolphins over the Raiders. I'm picking the Redskins in a big win versus the 49ers.
Man, these playoff games are always fun, man, because you know that if you don't play well, you get off to a slow start, it could be curtains for you, and that's the key. Andy's a good user. He had to beat a good user in the Chargers user to get into this playoffs, and Andy came up with a blowout. I said, "Shit." He's obviously ready to roll. But man, we got a lot of weapons to think about. You got P. Ryan in the backfield. If you stop that, normally before this was the recipe to stop high speed in the Redskins or high speed in the Titans. You stop the run, line up, put 8 in the box, stop the run. You got a good chance to beat them. Okay, put 8 in the box now, and you're gonna have celebrations over the top with the Pied Piper and JC, Jabari Curry. 2 receivers, both of them got over 1,600 yards receiving. 27 touchdowns for Curry and 13 for Kelly. And we still got P. Ryan over 1,000 yards and 12, 13 touchdowns. So that's going to be, the matchup. Can the 49ers defense slow down the Redskins offense? And if you could keep the Redskins from getting 30 points, if you could keep them to 24 points, you got to make it an ugly game in order to beat the Redskins, I think. And I think the Redskins, of course, I'm not picking against the Redskins. We're gonna come out with the victory, but it's gonna be a tough game. And Andy know how I play. I know how he played. We're old division rivals, so it's gonna be a fun matchup. But I think the Redskins will be able to prevail in the end.
No doubt. Andy Forrest, hit your boy Expert in the DM. I give you the recipe on beating those Redskins. I think it's real simple. It's just difficult to execute. But the game plan is simple. All right, H-Speed, I got to ask you, what is the prediction for your Redskins this year? Are we going to finally see H-Speed's name on the banner?
Man, we're just going to take it one game at a time.
Okay.
I got to get you that. We're going to take it one game at a time because it's the playoffs.
Go back in that house and find the real H-Speed. I need the real H-Speed to step up and let me know, is the Redskin chopping block open for business in the Dynasty playoffs?
Hey, the real season just started, the playoffs. You know we standing at the chopping block. We got our blades ready. First head on the block, the San Francisco 49ers and Andy Forrest. Next up could potentially be Hot Tub or my boy Matty Ice. So, look, we just got to play our game. We got to be patient and not make mistakes. And we're gonna go to the Super Bowl and win a banner this year. I really feel like that. We got the weapon. We got the weapon. We got the defense. We're ready to roll.
You definitely have the team. You put this team together. And what's crazy, man, you got some top picks coming in this next draft. You fixing to add more weapons to that team. But before we get out of here, let me give a quick plug. Y'all be on the lookout. Experts Corner is coming to the DML network. My first guest host, PX1 Sports. Right now, we are looking for Tuesday to record that show. So be on the lookout Tuesday, Wednesday for that show to drop on the DML network. Should be exciting. Try and get a bunch of exposure to the Dynasty. We will have some Dynasty guys that want to jump on the show. We'll definitely give them that opportunity. But, H-Speed, you got anything for the Dynasty before we get out of here?
Man, just enjoy the playoffs, and for everybody that's in the off season, hey, this is the time to make shrewd trades. This is the time to make sure your scouting's up and figure out what you need for your team in order to go to the next level, because high stakes are coming up. We're a couple seasons out. This draft and the next draft are going to be the most important drafts in order to get those final pieces in and those final moves. Hey, in Washington, we ready to roll, man. Hey, we got 2 top 5 picks coming in. We got second round picks, some third round picks. We got a nice team as is. If you need picks, come holler at me. Of course, you got to make a deal, and the office doors are open. But very excited for the playoffs. Everybody, watch the playoffs. Get in tune. Hit me on my my Twitch. It's gonna be an interactive broadcast for the playoffs.
No doubt. And the homie H-Speed and I are looking to broadcast, live commentate some playoff games this year. So if you want your game live broadcasted by the Total Access crew, hit us up, hit Dion up, let us know. Let me put my Tone Dog hat on real quick and let everybody know this is the time to read the rules. Please do not cut nobody. Don't edit nobody. Don't add nobody. Don't do anything with your team except watch these playoff games, or you will have Tone Dog in your inbox, in the no chat, giving you a violation. But guys, those are the Dynasty Wildcard games. Prove us right, prove us wrong. They just our opinions. It's your boy Expert, and we out.
Let's go back.